Patrick Cook here. So welcome to session number 24 of our Mandelbulb3D Epic Rendering tutorial series. Where I left off in the last session, I was punching in numbers up here in order to get me a resolution of twice that what I need for my ultimate goal, which is to print a physical picture, so that I got plenty of leeway that I can utilize to improve the quality of the image. Now you notice here I had to do 6 times, all right, because there's another factor in here that we need to consider, and it's called anti-aliasing. That is right down here, all right, right there. Tile downscale anti-aliasing. Now you notice that that's 3 right now. Now what this anti-aliasing means, and I think I described this earlier in the series, but let me just review. What it means is that it will increase the size, increase the resolution of the image in an effort to reduce the stair-step effect. All right, because in a digital file, you tend to have your digital pixels that are arranged in a row and a column or kind of a matrix. All right, so if you have a diagonal line, that diagonal line will tend to have a stair step, all right, effect. What you do is that you render the image at a much higher resolution, all right, because then when it's downscaled again, you're going to have less of that stair step effect. Now, if we just take a look at the image that we're working with, I don't have a whole lot of diagonal lines there. I don't think I have any straight horizontal, and I don't have any straight vertical. Everything tends to be round, curvy. So I'm probably not going to have a problem with the stair step effect in this particular Mandelbulb image scene. So I don't need to go crazy on the anti-aliasing setting. In other words, a setting of 3, which is the maximum you can go, all right, and the setting of 1 is the minimum you can go, all right. So in an image like this, because I don't have a whole lot of diagonal lines now, okay, I don't need extensive anti-aliasing dialed in. Now let me just explain. If I come down here and I have a 1 in there, what that 1 means is that it is going to, let me put a 1 in here and I'll show you, a size factor of 1. In other words, what the parameters that came in are not going to be scaled up because I have an anti-alias of 1. 1 basically means there will be no anti-aliasing. What it means is that it will render at the exact size that you tell it to, right up here, and it doesn't increase the rendering. If I dial a 2 in there, watch the numbers up here, right there, watch those. I'm going to put a 2 in there, all right? You notice how those numbers basically halved because I've increased the size of the rendering by having an anti-aliasing value of 2. If I put 3 in there, all right, I'm even lower, and the way I compensate for that is I need to have a size factor that builds it back up again, which was what, 6? All right, so let's run those numbers again. All right, 9,000 coming in, 18,000 at a size factor of 6 with an anti-alias setting of 3. Now, let's walk it backwards. if I do an anti-aliasing of 2, all right, I need to, let's see, here, 4, there we go, there it is, okay. Anti-aliasing of 2, now my size factor is 4 in order to achieve my 18,000, which is double the my target. Let's put an anti-aliasing of 1 in there. All right, now my size factor is 2 in order to get the doubled resolution that I need for my target goal, a physical print. All right, now I hope that's making sense to you. Basically, anti-aliasing, every tick up of the anti-aliasing is going to double the size of the resolution, which you then need to compensate for with your size factor in order to adjust this so that you have a resolution that's rendered that is, well, per the rule of thumb that I use, is twice what you need for the end goal for your image file. Now, like I was saying before, I don't need a whole lot of anti-aliasing in here because I don't have a whole lot of diagonal lines, and I'm not worried about it, okay? So, but I don't want no anti-aliasing. I want some, so I'm going to put that to 2, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to put that to 4. That gets me my double resolution. I don't have to do the double. That's only a rule of thumb that I use. If I put 3 in here, all right, I would get 13,000, which still gives me some extra pixels to work with. I mean, I could come in here and I could do a 2, all right, and I get a rendered output from Mandelbulb that is exactly what I'm going to send off to the printer. I don't really have any headroom to work with. So, but I mean, I could do 3. I could do 3. I still have some headroom to work with. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and stay at 3. All right, no harm done. All right, so that's anti-aliasing. Now, the way I'm going to go with this is I'm going to have an anti-aliasing of 2, so that's some anti-aliasing, not the maximum, and it's not the maximum being 3, and it's not the minimum, which is 1, which is effectively no anti-aliasing. All right, so I'm going to stay with these numbers. All right, I like these numbers. Now, we got about a minute left here on this session, so I'm going to save this tiling discussion for the next session. Let's drop down to here. I have 3 different ways that I can output these tiles. I got the PNG, I got the JPEG, and I got the bitmap. I suggest you go with PNG because PNG is it's considered a lossless compression, and it does a very good job at preserving the quality. JPEG will do a lot of compression. It's considered a lossy compression method. Its compression basically injects quality problems that you really can't dig out of there again. If there's a quality problem, it's baked in, as they say. They say it's baked in. You do have the ability to adjust the JPEG quality. In reality, you're adjusting the JPEG compression. Personally, I stay away from JPEG. I want the absolute best quality that I can get out of this big render. You also have the BMP. That is a lossless file format, but it is kind of old. It's old, it's fat, and you may actually find that some of your editing software really doesn't want to work with the bitmap. It basically is overkill for what you need, and it does not support transparency, nor does JPEG. So if you have any transparency here in your image, all right, and you can do transparency, all right, JPEG and BMP are going to lose all of that, whereas your PNG will preserve transparency. My recommendation to you is stay with the PNG when you're outputting from the big render. You're going to be much happier in the long run. Okay? All right, so we're gonna end this session right now. When we come back, we're gonna pick up a couple of these stragglers and we're gonna talk about these tiles. All right? So I'll see you in session number 25. I'll see you there.